Colman, I imagine that being in something like Euphoria with Zendaya, has that kind of brought a different sort of attention to you?
It has, in a way that I didn't ever expect. Like, I was on the 405 freeway in L.A. some months ago, and a group of young girls were all in the car next to me, just kept pulling up to the car. I'm like, what's going on? And I just, like, waved awkwardly, and then I hear... and I'm like 54 years old. And I have, like, all these screaming teenage girls, you know, just losing their shit. You know? Yeah. It's kind of nice. It's really good.
There's one that I learned recently that's really wonderful. And somebody was saying, you swerve. Do you know what swerving is?
No.
No.
Swerving.
Yes, what's swerving?
I was like, oh, get somebody off your scent or something like that. I don't know, confuse somebody. And they were like, no, they come in for a kiss and you swerve. Isn't that great?
Yeah, kind of. Takes
Okay,
a
I'll do it.
Only if you don't want the kiss.
I'm coming in for the
no,
kiss.
I won't swerve.
No, you've got to swerve.
I can't. Will you kiss me?
You've got to swerve.
No,
okay?
I won't. All right. Just know that I would never swerve on you.
This is okay. So you chose what swerving? Oh, Pedro, it's so lovely to see you. How are you, darling?
You cheated, Pedro. You cheated.
I feel like that's wrong. You can't be swerved.
Do you walk around kind of unbothered that people don't recognise you that much, which seems incredible?
Yeah, no, you know, living in New York, you know, I'm in L.A. now, but for years in New York, I just put on a baseball hat and walk around, and I'm not, you know, like Ben Affleck, you know, who I grew up with is 6'3" or 6'4", you know, he just kind of sticks out just no matter what, and I'm, you know, 5'10". Nobody looks twice at me.
It's an ordinary height. That's just, I don't mean it like that.
No, but you know, people and if people do recognize me, oftentimes I'm with my kids and they're just really cool about it. I mean, I had one experience here actually. I was in Greens Park. We were making The Bourne Ultimatum, so this would have been 2006. Yeah, and my daughter was young. She was just a toddler, and we had her out in the park, and it was just Lucy, my wife, and my daughter, and me, and it was kind of a rainy day, as you have here sometimes.
You were lucky.
Yeah. And it was just us in the park, and we were playing with our baby, and this young Spanish couple came kind of strolling down hand in hand, and they kind of looked over and saw me and kind of had an exchange, and then pulled out a camera and came over, and I kind of say to my, well, here we go, you know, and I kind of come over, and the guy says to me, please, picture, and I said, no problem, and I went over to his wife, and I put my arm around her, and he looked at me kind of in the international way that a man looks at another man when he's got his arm around his wife. And I realized right away that he wanted me to take a picture of them. They were looking for a photographer. They didn't have any idea who I was.
Keep you humble. Keep you humble.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, and it was great. My wife was there to witness the whole thing. So that was the first thing I said. I was like, oh, shit. So we still joke about that one.
And I know one of the producers, Barack Obama, there we go, boom. Yeah. He spoke to you about Rustin.
Yeah, when we were in D.C. and we were introducing the film to HBCUs, historically black colleges, these 19 and 20-year-olds, he said to me backstage, he says, you know what, there would be, I like to do his voice, he said, you know, Colman, there would be no Barack Obama if there wasn't a Bayard Rustin, because he really looked at him as being one of the greatest organizers this country has ever had. Yeah. And so he said he really influenced him in many ways.
Yeah.
And we become very close and warm, almost like, at times I questioned, should I be that warm with them? Like, they had a holiday party, which was kind of dope. They had a holiday party, and I go in, and they're playing some Jay-Z song, and I go in, because I'm throwing up hands, I'm like, oh, this is fun. And I walk in and see Barack Obama standing there. He's like, oh, and I'm like, oh, hey. Yeah. So I go, dancing together, and I'm like, should I be doing this? Is Secret Service gonna come and get me?
That's the party?
Oh, that's the party.
Oh, wow.
Yes. That's my pal. That's my buddy now. Look at him.
Yeah.
And my handsome husband over there.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what a time to be Colman Domingo, because the other producer you've just been working with, the great Oprah Winfrey.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
Yeah. at her. Oh, look, I'm presenting her there.
Oh,
Does she look good?
tell you.
does.
The Colour Purple, which you also star in, that's in cinemas now.
Yeah.
And the meeting Oprah and sort of getting to know Oprah is a kind of weird full circle moment.
It's
for her.
cosmic.
Yeah.
It's, my mother is no longer with us, and when she was with us, she used to write to Oprah at least 6 times. And she would always call me up and I was a struggling artist, and she would say, hey, you know why I wrote Oprah today? I was like, why? She said, because Oprah can help you. She helps people. I'm like, she can't help me. How she can help me? So I was just disgruntled, and I would just pay it no mind. My mother wrote to her over and over again. Wildly enough, Oprah and I were on a hike in Maui at her home.
You know.
Yeah, I'm just name dropping all day long.
I was dancing with Barack Obama, and then I went on a hike with
Because she loves to
Oprah.
hike. So we're on this incredible hike, and suddenly it came to me. I said, wow, oh, that's the picture. I said, hey, my mother used to write to you, and I think I just realized that her letters got to you. And Oprah said, she clutched her heart, just held my hand, and then we just kept walking. I mean, that's the way I think the universe works. I feel like sometimes the things that are happening, I think for all of us in many ways, they're the dreams that someone else had for you, you know? They're the letters that someone else wrote for you. And I feel like that's why a lot of me sitting here, somebody wrote a letter for me to sit here with you.
And did your mom, did she live to see your success?
Unfortunately, she did not. She passed away when I was... But you know what? She saw the things that made me happy. I consider myself a journeyman. I've just been working in the theater for a long time. And she knew I was happy. That's all she wanted from me. I think that's what any of our parents wanted, you know?
Did she see Blues for an Alabama Sky?
She did not.
She did not.
And Blues for an Alabama Sky, oh, wow, that's where we first met. We have our journey, which is, he came into the dressing room today and we were like in awe of our journey together because that was your first show,
I did my first professional play with Colman Domingo.
What are the chances of that?
In the Bay Area in 1997, we did a play called Blues for an Alabama Sky with Pearl Cleage. And you played Guy, and I played Leland Cunningham, and you were so generous and warm and wonderful with me. I can remember one story in particular where on stage we have a stage kiss, my character with the main protagonist of the play. And she changed up the stage kiss on this particular night, and she slipped a little tongue into the kiss.
Oh, she did.
And I was a young man, and I hadn't done a lot of stuff, and I came up to Colman after, and I said, Colman, do people normally French kiss on stage kisses on stage?
What did I say?
And you were putting on your makeup, he was putting on his makeup, he said, no. He said, no. And then he goes, did you like it? And I said, not really. And he's like, well, you should tell her to put it back the way that it was then. And I was like, all right, I just need it. I love that I put it on
like lots of makeup.
Who were you playing?
You were just getting it on. You were just getting it on. It was sage advice, though.
Yeah.
Thank
Very
you.
magical.
Isn't it wild? Isn't it wild? Yeah.
That is wild.
Sorry, what's it?
Did you watch Downton before?
No, my wife is an addict. And by addict, I mean like a crack addict. And it's like a problem. We were supposed to start the show together, and I came to bed one night, and she said, I've just watched 6 of them. And she was like, I'll tell you what happened. Because she wanted to see the 7th, and she didn't want to go back to the 1st. You know, and so she's done the whole thing, and I'm on my own. So I will watch Downton Abbey because I love you, but I'm gonna have to find time somehow to do that, raising 4 kids.
Have you ever seen it, Bill? I don't think I've ever read such good reviews for a television show. I mean, they're rapturous. Were you familiar with the game?
I didn't know about the game before I got the job. And then I got the job and I found out very quickly about the game. It's a very famous video game.
Yeah, I've heard.
That,
You haven't played The Last of Us?
No. It needed to be explained to me. But when I got the job, I was very familiar with HBO. I was very familiar with Craig Mazin, who created Chernobyl.
Yeah.
And but I called my sister, who's got 2 teenage boys, and I was on speaker when she answered. She was dropping them off at school, and she's like, "What's going on?" And I said, "Well, there's this job offer and or opportunity that it's based actually on a video game." And Bruno and Pedro are my nephew's names, and they're like, "What is it?" And I was like, "It's called and they're, "The Last of Us! You better get that job!"
You talk about getting that job. Your experience of getting that job, quite hazy, I think.
Yeah. I was in London. This is horrible.
Okay.
Okay, so it all happened very, very quickly. It was a very strange thing where it was read the scripts, talk to Craig, and then, you know, it was getting later and later at night. And we're shooting in London at the time, and they needed me to stay up late to meet the creator of the video game and the executive producer, Carolyn Strauss, who was on Game of Thrones, and to continue kind of like, you know, trying to convince them to hire me for the job. And by the time it was all said and done, it was late, and I took an Ambien, a sleeping tablet.
That's strong.
To go to bed, yeah. Because I knew that I needed to, because I was, at that point, I was kind of hyped up.
Yeah.
You've got to work the next day. You've got to
Yeah, and I was excited about the prospect. So they called me to tell me that I had gotten the job, but I'd already taken the tablet. So I really didn't think, I thought that I would at least have to wait until the next day, you know? And
okay.
yeah, and I remember actually.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God. And then like a couple of minutes on the call went by, apparently, and I was like, so what's up? Did I get the job? And they were like, what are you talking about? We called you, we told you got the job. And I was like, oh, I did? And they're like, what's it? And I was like, oh, I took a tablet. I forgot that completely. Woke up in the morning, it was all like, oh my God, did I get the job? You know? I'm gonna have to wait all day. They're in LA. I'm in London. I'm gonna be waiting by the phone and everything. And I had gotten the job.
I'm surprised you kept the job. Hey, let's think again.